Let's talk about the economy and how it affects younger generations, especially younger generations, starting out trying to buy houses and have kids and things like that. Let's watch this video first.
Real talk. We spent $23,715 on daycare last year. I'm a mom of two. My husband and I both work full-time jobs, and daycare is our full-time childcare. I want to be transparent about what it actually costs to be a dual income family, especially when it comes to childcare. So we just wrapped up 2025 and filed our taxes, which means we submitted our daycare expenses. Again, total for the year, $23,715. We do have two kids. We have a 5-year-old daughter who is in pre-K, and the other is 2.5, and she's in the Choose program. And they're actually at two different daycares because of the cost. My younger daughter's daycare is $30 cheaper per week than her sister's, so that does save us $120 a month, which roughly is about $1,400 a year just by having them at two different daycares. Even if they were at the same daycare, they do get a discount, but not enough to break that up. We did just start 2026, and with 2026 came tuition increases. So both daycares are going up $10 per kid per week. So that's another $20 a week, which should put us around $25,000 for daycare in 2026. There is a little light at the end of the tunnel. Our oldest will start kindergarten in the fall. So we'll get a little bit of a breathing room with her only being in after school care. But I know that every time I joke about having a third kid, my husband can just show me the daycare bill. And honestly, fair. But this is also why so many working families are falling through the cracks. Like we make way too much to have any kind of assistance, but not enough for any of this to feel manageable by any means. Does anybody else feel stuck where you don't qualify for help, but you still can't breathe? I live in Central Illinois, and my daycare is $470 a week. Where do you live? How much is your daycare? Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. I'm going to go cry.
Okay, so I live in the Chicagoland area and thankfully do not have kids in daycare anymore. That young woman is much younger than I am, and in the starting out in life phase. My youngest is 14. My oldest is in their mid-30s, and we have two in between. So daycare is not an issue for us. However, when we first moved out here 21 years ago this month, February 2026. When we first moved out here, our daughter Magnolia was 3, and our daughter Lily was 6 months old, I think. And our mortgage, our daycare monthly bill was more than our mortgage by like a couple $100 or something. And that's when the ratios were a hell of a lot closer. That's when childcare expense and housing expense and energy costs were a much smaller percentage of your take-home pay than they are currently. And so when I hear these stories like hers, and I think about my daughter, my 24-year-old daughter, soon to be 25-year-old daughter who's going to give birth to her first child, when I think about my daughter who's in her mid-30s and she has a 15-year-old and a 10-year-old, when I have no idea. Like my daughter who has the two kids doesn't have daycare, but like my daughter who's getting ready to have a child, like her and her partner are figuring out, they're managing their schedule so that they kind of stagger and they don't have to have daycare because it's simply not affordable. The cost of daycare has skyrocketed, and people will tell you, and it's the truth. They'll say the cost of daycare eats half to 2/3 of one of our incomes. And so I'm just working for daycare, but you're not, right? Because the question becomes, okay, if you did away with your income and thus did away with daycare, could you afford to live without that other third or half or whatever is left over from your pay that doesn't go to daycare? And usually the answer is no. And that's where people feel stuck. People feel stuck because they go to work for 40 or 50 hours a week. And a significant portion of that pay, one of the parents, and the significant portion of that pay goes to daycare. So you have one income and a partial income because of all the daycare that's coming in, or that's going out. I don't know how they're doing it. It was insane when we were doing it with better ratios. I have no idea. My fucking beard, sorry. I have no idea how younger generations are going to do it. I just know this, that when people hear of folks that are dual income households and they go, well, what are you complaining about? You got two incomes. Look at the cost of daycare. The cost of daycare here in our area has gone up so much. If we were just starting out in life, I think that we would seriously consider not having kids. And not because we don't want to have kids. Obviously, we wanted to have kids, but I just don't know how they're doing it. And that's after the insane cost of housing, whether it be mortgages or rent. And that's after the insane cost of insurance, which has gone up exponentially in the last 21 years. And that's after the insane cost of heating your home and putting gas in your car. Now, that's come down a little bit, but the cost to heat your home and to power your home, that's gone way up, especially here in the state of Illinois. The cost to just put food on the pantry, on the table, in the pantry, in the freezer. You add all of that up before you even get to childcare, and it's no wonder that so many people in today's day and age are choosing not to have kids. It's in many cases unsustainable. Here's the deal. When Renee and I first got together, some 29 years ago, we made combined less than what we paid this year in taxes. We didn't have any money. We had nothing coming in the door. Very, very little income. And today, I remember when we both got to 65,000 a year, we thought, fuck, we're killing it, man. We're killing it. We got 130,000 a year coming in the door. Are you kidding me? We're fucking rocking it. Today, I don't know how couples where each member of the partnership, the husband and the wife, each make $85,000. I don't know how they're making it. I don't know how you're making it as a couple on 150 to 160,000 these days with the cost of everything, especially if you have kids. If you don't have kids, then different story. But if you have kids, that's just the cost of the daycare. That's not the clothes. That's not the formula. That's not the food. That's not everything else that goes into it. It's unsustainable. Something has to break. Something has to give in this whole thing.